Hello, hello, hello. Hey, friends. Svava Brooks here. If you're watching this replay, thank you so much for being here. I am a trauma recovery coach, and I love to hang out here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, live with fellow survivor thrivers as we work our way through the healing journey. Feels like one day at a time, one breath at a time sometimes, and we are working our way through my book, Releasing Your Authentic Self. And we end up sharing from the book and from our shared community on Facebook. But if you are here with us live today, please say hello. Let me know that you're here so I can welcome you. We always start with a check-in, come as you are, right? This is to support you and being as authentic and true to yourself as you can be. And we want to hold safe space for you to share. Feel free to jump in at any point if you have any comments or questions about healing. Love to hear from you. If I don't know the answer, I'm happy to turn it over to the community or see if I can find a resource that supports you. But today we are going to talk a little bit about relationships and relationships to self-care. And also we tend to give and take a lot of care of other people, often as survivors of trauma. We sometimes don't always feel connected to our needs or know how to ask for what we need and are more focused on other people. We can read minds, many of us, becomes our superpower. We can read minds, we can see around corners, right? Part of our hypervigilance, if you will. It's a blessing and a curse. Some of it was learned a long time ago, but often what ends up happening is that we're spending a lot of time and energy focused on other people, taking care of other people, and then those become ingrained habits, if you will, parts of our identity. We go above and beyond, but then we are left out to have the time and the energy to tend to what we need. So, hey, Carrie, how are you doing today, my friend? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Just setting up our conversation today. Glad you're here. There's lots going on in our world. So I think self-care and making sure that we are putting ourselves first is an important topic and an important reminder for all of us. So how are you doing today, Carrie? How are you doing, my friend? You're having a hard day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you are having a hard day, but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Rob. Is this the Rob we know or someone else? This is not your usual handle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How can we support you, Carrie? Good. I'm glad you're here. Yes. I've been touching in with a few people today. Certainly hearing it from a lot of people, right? Our bodies are tired, our hearts are weary, and that on top of us trying to heal from trauma. It takes a lot of, it feels like it takes more effort lately, and even just the simple things. So, hey, Rob, he says, it's me, I'm back. All right, Rob, where are you coming from? Carrie, where are you located? I'm coming to you from Portland, Oregon today. There you go, Carrie. I got it. Just need to be with people who get me. Just being with others is helpful. I get it, right? Because me over here might not be able to fix it for you, right? Unfortunately, I wish I could make it all better just like that. But we can certainly sit and be together. All right, I'm coming to you from Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon, originally from Iceland. So that's what I was thinking, Rob. Not been here for over a year. Okay. Well, what brings you back, my friend? And the reason I was asking, because we have another Rob from UK that hangs out with us regularly, and he might be here. So I hear you, Carrie. It's easy to feel isolated, even though I'm living with my husband and a 20-year-old son. Yes, I hear you. I hear you, my friend. Right? Sometimes we feel like we have to build these containers for our stories or what we've been through. So I get it. I get it. I do get it. I feel like that was been definitely slowly, made the shift from recognizing that, I was showing up differently with different people for a long time. And then, which makes sense because we are chameleons. We are very good at like becoming what we sense people or in the environment needs from us. So we're very good at, okay, I think I'm gonna bring this part of me forward, or I'm gonna be this version of myself here. And definitely had some identities that played out for a while. I understand. Very fortunate. My therapist checks in on me every day except for weekends and holidays. Good for you. Yes, it's nice to have a touchstone like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is nice. Rob, I had my mobility car taken from me and been housebound for a year. I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. I am sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. But I'm glad you are here with us today for the next 50 minutes. Happy to hold space. Hey, Rachel. How are you, friend? Glad to see you. Glad you're here. Thanks for checking in with me earlier. Getting comfortable here. Pardon me, I'm moving around. I'm just glad that I was able to log on today because it's interesting. YouTube has been giving me a hard time, but I made it. Made it. EJ says driving home, but listening. All right, friend. Thanks for checking in. Glad you're here. Rachel says just got back from a steamy walk. It's humid. Yeah, East Coast, right? New Jersey. It is humid there. I'm enjoying a little cooler temperature here in Portland today. It was warm in the beginning of the week. So, and I am going to go for my walk later, a couple hours. Then I'm gonna go visit my favorite spot in this neighborhood, the Rose Gardens. Rob, all my benefits have just been reinstated. Oof, I'm sorry, friend. I'm sorry, Rob. It's hot and humid in Arkansas. I can't even say that state name. The English, I trip over it sometimes, being my second language. But you have a breeze and you walk on a treadmill. Nice. I got my exercise bright and early this morning. And actually before I did my morning workout this morning, I turned on some of my favorite dance music. And I was dancing, what was it, 8:30 this morning? I was thinking if the neighbors could see me, but I was thinking, well, I'm dancing like nobody's looking. So that's how I like to warm up my body. So I was like totally put my headset in, cranked the music, and I was dancing on the mat before I did some workout. So yes, Rachel, I will smell those roses for you. I love them too. It never gets old. Never gets old. That's right, Carrie, right? Yep. That felt good and moving my body and dancing. It has always been one of my favorite things to do. So it felt really good. Felt really good to dance a little bit this morning, bright and early. Well, thank you, Rachel. Thank you. I've come a long ways. I've come a long ways, kicking and screaming. So I don't take it for granted, right? It's like every day is a new day. Every week is a new week because, right? It's a full-time job to handle all of this. And I know all of this works better. Everything is more smoother transition, if you will, if I have, taken good care of it. So I'm hoping to inspire you, Rachel. That's it. That's it. Like I was talking to someone this week, some days I turn on the yoga video. It's a 30-minute video and I tell myself, okay, I'm just going to start with 5 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the end, but I'm just going to start. Sometimes I have to trick my mind like that. But this week was good. I didn't have to do any tricks, but sometimes I have those moments too. But I do it anyways because this body has been through enough stress, enough, right, hardship. So I've made a commitment to take as care of it as well as I can. So awesome. I'm happy to hear it, Rachel. Happy to hear it. And like I said, there's baby steps, no comparisons. You do you. There you go. There you go, Carrie. Sometimes if I make myself do some self-care, I feel better afterwards. Some days I just can't do it, but I try. And there's something to be said about resting too, right? Some days, okay, today is a rest day. Make it okay to rest. Because sometimes when we're, we live in a world that likes to do and keep busy. And that's also a little bit of our nervous system being activated. We prefer to stay busy and active. And sometimes that distracts us from what's really going on here. So it's also good practice to decide, today I'm resting. Today I'm taking a break. I need the rest. So all those parts are important. Well, my friends, let's see, the topic for today Hey, Sharon, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. Today, we are on day 205 from Releasing Your Authentic Self. Feel free. I'd love to hear if you want to share your thoughts on the questions for today. The topic here to set it up for us is to build healthy, positive relationships. You must learn how to reconnect with your body. It's the only way your body will ever feel safe. You can start. We can start by not giving so much to others, right? Giving so much to others when it comes to our time, on our attention, our energy. Like I said, before some of you guys came on, right? There's very little left at the end of the day for us for taking care of our needs and our bodies. And Rachel, that's one of the reasons why I make sure I get my self-care in first, because right, it was an important switch for me to make, because I never even made it to the list of tending to what Svava needed, yet did I even know what I needed, because I was very disconnected from this body for a long time. So then developing the habit of giving ourselves the same amount of time, the same amount of love, the same amount of care, the same amount of compassion that we give to others, right? Be as good to yourself as you are to others. So, the questions that I asked today: what is one way in which you can stop giving too much to others? Now, hear me out, right? I'm not saying to stop giving or stop caring or stop loving or stop being kind or compassionate. No. But when we give too much and it becomes right at our expense, then we've overstepped kind of like that boundary, that healthy boundary. And how do you now plan to use that extra time to give to yourself? And what's one way in which you can stop, if not today, but what can you consider as a good start to stop giving too much? Again, hear me out, not saying to stop giving, stop caring. And how do you plan to use that extra time to give to yourself? Nice, Rachel. Feel better after I force myself to, although last night I did treat myself painting my nails. Nice, Rachel. That's a treat. That's a treat. That's awesome, Sharon. Great news. You've been resting. Glad to hear it. Rest, rest, rest. You'll get the results back. That's what's today? That's like that's 10 days, something like that. Hey, Lady Leo. Hey, friend. Good to see you. Glad you're here. How are you doing today? How are you today? So let's see here. Lady Leo shared with us today her thoughts. And then I had looked up an article that came up with some good things, some good pointers around self-care. And I think it applies especially right now. in this time that we're in. So I thought I would just review that with us, for us together. Let's see. Lady Leo shares with us erasing the belief that when I may be able to do something for others, but truly don't feel like it, or simply don't want to, I'm bad or selfish person. I hear you. I hear you, Lady Leo. And she goes on to say, I will very often be resting or doing something for myself and will stop to do favors for others. Can you guys relate? I would use that time to complete task I truly need to get done. Right? I know you're not alone. It's sometimes very hard for us to say no. Right? I'm sorry. I can't. Right now, I am taking care of, or I'm doing better now. Earlier was Rocky. I hear you, friend. Well, I'm glad you're here. Yes, says Rachel. Yes, for sure, especially if they make you feel guilty about it. Yes. And, right, here's the thing, Rachel, right? It is tricky because the truth is, when we have those negative thoughts about ourselves, when other people respond to us, right? It's like they are touching into our beliefs. So like I keep telling my adult kids now, when they say, oh, he makes me feel so guilty, or she makes me feel guilty, or whatever, I'm like, the truth is, they can't make you feel things. The feelings are yours. They're doing them. They're doing whatever they need to meet their needs, right? But we, or you, right? I say to them, you're deciding that there's something inside of you that believes you should feel guilty. And I know it's hard, right? To recognize me taking care of me is actually a good thing, right? Not bad, not selfish, right, Lady Leo? I'm learning. I'll say nope, don't feel like, and leading and learning to be okay with it. Learning to be okay with it. And then sometimes, like, no is a complete sentence. Right? Right? Because here's the thing, if you are, if you know, if the people around you, if they try to make you feel guilty when you say no, then maybe that isn't a very healthy relationship or partnership or friendship. Right? It's like the people around you that care about you, they would want you to take care of yourself. They should want to encourage you to put yourself first. So that's right, Rachel, right? It taps into our wounded self, right? Maybe the part of us who has an unmet need and is hoping that others would fulfill those needs. But the truth is, other people, most of our needs, other people can't fulfill. It's our job. Of course, there's some things that we can ask for, like in a healthy, loving, caring friendship, partnership, equal responsibility and sharing, and right. But a lot of the things that we want other people to do, like make me happy, make me feel better. Yes, I can't make you feel better, but I can sit with you. I can be here with you. I won't turn away from you. So it's tricky. Yeah, I prefer folks to be honest with me, so I like to be honest with others as to why I don't want to do something. Yeah. And those are our people, right? So let's go continue until we find our people. I've learned that just because people have an expectation of me, I don't have to meet them, says Carrie. Yes. Yep, exactly. Because actually, there's plenty of people out there that would love for you to just take care of them. Just take care of it all, right? Not healthy, not good for you, not good for them, right? So it's good for us to learn to practice to, okay, so what do I need to take care of me first? So at the end of the day, because if I'm not taking care of me at the end of the day, I am tired, I am frustrated, or I've tipped into overwhelm that can possibly tip me into like angry or anxious. And then that's going to spill over into maybe my relationships. So everybody loses. It's like it's a win-win. If I put me first, do everything that I can do to meet my needs, my healthy, take care of this body, right? Rest if I need to, eat when I need to, exercise when I need to, take some time to do something creative or spiritual, right? Mindful. My cup is full. All right. I'll show up in this relationship and I have something to give, something to in the overflow. That's right. That's right. Carrie says, if I do something that I don't really want to do for others, I feel resentment. And I'm not that nice to be around. My passive way of rebelling. Yeah, it's like we become passive aggressive. And personally, I don't want someone to be doing something for me out of guilt or resentment. And so I make it a point in my relationships, with the people closest to me to have that, conversation. I celebrate your no. If you can't do this, please tell me, right? And we have that conversation. If you ask me for something and I say no, I'm going to trust, because you know me and I know you, that you recognize I'm not saying no to try to be a jerk or not supportive. I don't have the bandwidth. I can't do it right now. Or I will say no, I can't do it, but tomorrow or next week would work. So much that we can communicate about what we need, and recognizing how are we caretaking other people, what expectations do we have about other people doing and taking care of us. So we're all learning to grow up. We are all learning to grow up. Some of us later than others, me included. I remember for years I was so resentful. My husband was really good at taking care of his body and exercising and eating. And I would be just so mad and hurt and upset that he would make himself first. And then one day it dawned on me, wait a minute, instead of being resentful, why don't I do that? So in many ways, he was, my role model. I needed a role model. I didn't have a role model growing up. I was doing what I saw growing up, and that was not working, right? Working myself to the bone and taking care of other people, putting everybody first, of course, because I was disconnected from my body. And I really really didn't want to connect with my body, and that was kind of what I mentioned in the beginning here. So for a long time, take this over caring, caretaking of other people was, my secret agenda to staying busy, distracted, to avoid having to really take care of me. Because when I turned my attention to me and this body, I had to, right, go through some of the hard feelings and understand why it was hard. There was nothing wrong with me, but there was just a lot of old feelings, old thoughts, toxic beliefs that I held about myself. And the only way to change those was through taking time for me to become aware of me and my needs. And Carrie says, I have a bad habit of disappearing from others when I have to say no to them. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I hear you, Carrie. I hear you. It is hard. It is hard to let people down. It is. I totally get it. Can you guys relate? Right? We are all also very caring, kind humans, and we would love to, right, be there, take care of other people, make it all better out of the kindness of our hearts. So thank you, Lady Leo, right? Yep, I get it. I get it. So I don't know about you, Carrie, but what helped me also to learn to recognize some of those uncomfortable feelings was to recognize where they came from, right? Is that, making people feel good was a survival strategy for me too, right? Don't rock the boat. Don't make anyone mad or sad or uncomfortable. Just be happy. I recognized, right, it came from a long time ago, from this little girl, and that she was scared about how people would respond if, if I made them uncomfortable or I didn't want to, right? So that came from her. So I helped my inner child to see, right? Asking for what we need, yes, is uncomfortable in the beginning because we didn't learn how to do it then. But as an adult now, and as I'm the parent and the protector of this little girl, I helped her see that I was the one having these grown-up conversations. So, but again, some of this, right, we learn by doing, and it can feel tricky and risky in the beginning. And then sometimes this is where it's safe to have a group of peers, survivors, and friends who are practicing having these conversations. And what I learned as well was that often leading from the place of being, telling people how I was feeling. Like, I have to say no, or I'm so sorry, I can't do this for you. I feel really bad, right? I'm really sad. It makes me sad, or, so you're not just writing them off or being harsh or but trying to work on being as honest as possible, but also share how it's making you feel. So, but I do get it, Carrie. Hey, Rob, I'm sorry to hear that. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. Sounds like some boundaries are required. right? Ask him if he needs support with learning how to manage his money, right? Because you only have a limited resource for yourself. So, but I'm not saying it's easy, especially when it's our kids. I totally get it. Totally get it. So, my friends, I said that I had found an article around self-care, especially, self-care during this time. So I was going to share some of those with you. I've shared this article in our Journey to the Heart group. You may have seen it. I hear you, Rob. He says, how can I say no? Right? Well, I'm not telling you to say no, but if this becomes a habit of his, how can you ask him if there's a way that you could support him, that he learned to manage his money so he doesn't run out, because then he's tapping into your limited resource. So it's just a suggestion, just a suggestion. Carrie says, I found that anytime I start to take care of myself and set a boundary, I get pushed back. I just have to hold on and maintain my boundary. It is hard. Yes, Carrie, I get it. I totally get it. Can you guys relate? And that's sometimes what happens, right? When we've been very accommodating and everybody else is on the list before us, even our kids. As our kids get older, right? It's like, no, you don't need to be diapered and fed and put to sleep right before I take care of myself. My needs go first, and then we can talk about yours later. I've taught you how to take care of those needs, but those people will push back. Mom will do it, right? Or dad will do it, or it's like we've trained people a little bit about what to expect from us, and then when we say, I can't do that today, people throw little tantrums. It's like their inner child comes out, right? It's like, well, you've always done this, or right, who. And sometimes I think it's also like I shared with you, my husband was always really good about his self-care, and I was resentful and angry and frustrated, would complain about him with my girlfriends way back. And then it dawned on me, it's like, wait, I'm only angry because he's doing something that I'm not doing. Right? So it was like I was angry at myself instead of like, why don't I do what he's doing? So when people push back at us, we're inviting them to look at themselves. And that's not always fun or pretty. I know that from personal experience, right? It's not always fun or pretty when something is brought to my awareness, or I become aware, learn something new about myself that I didn't know. And it's like, it can feel uncomfortable, right? Carrie said earlier, right? I don't want to feel uncomfortable. But the truth is, the more honest we are about taking care of, ourselves, the healthier our relationships become, because it's such a relief that you know how to take care of you. I know how to take care of me. And if there is something that I need because I'm sick or something happened, or right, and I can ask you for support around it, but you also have permission to say no, because I'm going to reserve the right to say no if I can't help. And no one's going to take it personally. This is not a personal attack. I'm not, just because I'm not choosing not to do something because I simply don't have the time, energy, or money, right? My self-care should always go first, because I'm responsible for this. You're not responsible for this. So me taking care of this, I'm taking responsibility for this. So It's definitely challenging, Carrie, when we slowly decide. I've been there myself. All of a sudden, when we aren't as accommodating, people don't always like it. So, but eventually it's a win-win. Because when we do that, we are also showing people how to treat us, right? Because people will treat us the way we show them how we treat us. So, self-care during right now, pandemic. Number one, stay in the present moment as much as you can. Staying in the present moment as much as you can, right? This mind is always pinging back and forth, evaluating what happened yesterday, worried about the future, sometimes being hard on ourselves about what happened yesterday or what happened a year ago or many, many, many years ago. So we are constantly going back and forth. And a lot of it is, right, we take our experience from the past to see how we're going to navigate the future. And right now, many of us keep going back there, looking in our files. Okay, how did we deal with this last time? And there is no file for a pandemic, right? Or whatever else is going on in your country. And so our mind is like getting really tired. So coming into the present moment, into this body, feeling our feet on the ground, following our breath. What is it that I need right now? Keeps us out of hypervigilance and reacting, right? When we're reacting, we're in our fight and flight, right? It's like I'm overwhelmed, looking around corners again, right? It's like those old wires. And right now it's like mindfulness practices 8 times a day. But they're like check-ins regularly, staying out of the news, minimizing exposure to media. So maintaining perspective and priority. Maintaining perspective and priority. What can I control, right? What's in my control and what's not in my control? And it's been interesting. Perspective and positivity. Yes, maintain perspective and positivity. It's been interesting, right? I'm in Portland, Oregon, and a lot of people are seeing the news from Portland, Oregon, and reaching out and saying, Svava, are you okay? What's going on, right? And I'm telling people, right? It's like looking out the window from here, right? Being on the ground here, our day-to-day is okay. Of course, we're navigating the same COVID challenges. But it's, my perspective is that what we're seeing with peaceful protests downtown, I'm excited about it. I'm happy about it, right? It's like we're seeing growing number of people that are coming out to protest peacefully in yellow t-shirts with peace signs and flowers. So moms and dads. So I'm focusing on that. But yet what I see in the news and what I'm hearing from, and I also, like, my daughters went downtown a couple of nights ago, and we're seeing the whole spectrum, but I'm choosing to focus on the things that are working and keeping my perspective in terms of the things that I can contribute and what am I doing. So, right. And the next one here is be intentional about choices and attention. And that kind of falls in along with, exactly. There's actually like there was, I think 2,000 people. I didn't look last night, right? I made a choice last night not to, because I've found a live stream on Facebook that they're showing live from downtown Portland. If you're curious, you can go to my Facebook profile, and if you scroll down, you can find her. She's live streaming from downtown Portland every night. And yes, the be intentional about choices and attention. Be intentional about choices and attention, right? I mean, that's kind of like a mindfulness practice. What are you choosing to put your intention and focus to, right? So we're being asked to make choices around self-care, right? That's what we were talking about. Continuing to make a choice, bringing our attention to our bodies. What is it that we need? What is it what I need? So you're welcome, Carrie. So yes, Rachel, there is lots of peaceful activity demonstrations going on as well. So the next one is actively walk and work through feelings. Actively work through your feelings, right? And especially right now, the hard feelings that we may be feeling are sadness, grief, anger, overwhelm, frustration. And these are hard feelings, and these are very hard feelings to carry alone. So I hear you, Carrie, right? So how can we process or work through a feeling? We can write about it, right? Of course we're sad. Of course we're angry. Of course there's grief. There's people dying. People are sick. People are losing their jobs, right? There's instability and insecurity. You know, there's outrage. So it's normal that there's going to be a range of some uncomfortable feelings. So, but the hardest part is to, when we repress, avoid, or distract ourselves, we can validate our own feelings. Sometimes, yeah, it's like, yeah, I feel sad. This is where I love self-compassion practices. You know, place your hand on your heart, connect with this body, because you're not just thinking about this feeling, it's a full body experience. But often when we feel hard things, we tend to be so hard on ourselves. We judge ourselves. We're like, I shouldn't feel this way. I'm supposed to be happy all the time. Or, right? When things are hard, we feel hard, and then we get harder on ourselves. So, and even, right, in our partnerships, friendships, and relationships, to be honest, I'm feeling this, right? It helps to talk about it. When we share our feelings, I'm not asking you to fix it. You can't fix how I feel. My job is to fix how I feel. But it's comforting to share that with someone else, someone that just is sitting with me and maybe feeling the same way. Maybe they can go, yeah, I get it. I've been feeling that too. This is hard. These are hard times. To be kind, not judge ourselves for having the hard feelings, right? And here's another one. Have a solid and diverse self-soothing plan. Self-soothing plan. And that again calls to us to take a little responsibility to recognize, well, what is self-soothing? What feels good? That's right, Carrie. That's good. I like that, right? It's understandable why I would feel this way. Exactly. It's totally understandable. I understand. It makes sense, right? I understand why I feel this way. I understand why you feel this way. I hear you. That's a hard feeling. Yeah, grief is hard. Sadness is hard. Anger is hard sometimes, right? Giving people permission to have their feelings. And just naming it, putting it out there, putting it into words often is like, oh, I'm not carrying it on the shoulder anymore. I got to put it out here. And there's a release in that. Good question. Good question. So soothing, and that's again, different people, what works for different people. So what they name here, right? What is soothing to you? Breath, something creative, right? Rolling, wrapping yourself up in a blanket, listening to soft music. So again, soothing to me is like nurturing, soothing, something that feels soft and warm and cozy, like comforting. That's what soothing brings to my mind. Self-care is more like action oriented, meaning like more of a doing thing. Soothing feels more like a slowing things way more down. But let me see if I can find here some points on that. Yeah, they suggest here in this article, make a list of 20 actions that are uniquely soothing that can go a long way, right? Self-soothing and self-care isn't all manicures and massages. And our list should include things like deep breathing, movement, engaging with something creative. If we hope to have the stamina for what's ahead, we need to know that we have ways to take care of ourselves when things feel like too much, so that we can re-enter life with all of its unknowns. And here's a suggestion: post your self-soothing plan next to your feeling chart and commit to taking action when you begin to feel overwhelmed. So another thing that just came up for me as I was going through this is very much for me, soothing is about, it's about, for me, is about my breath. I can feel my breath. That's what, kind of struck me right now when I was going through that. Let's see, Rachel says, I was absent the day when they taught self-soothing. It's easy to do when I'm not feeling too bad, but if I'm really feeling down, I go into panic, fight, flight mode, and it's hard to do. I hear you. I hear you, Rachel. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. And again, right, some of what we learned about how do we treat ourselves was how we saw our caregivers treat themselves and how our caregivers treated each other and how our caregivers treated us. So it is, if this doesn't come naturally to us, it's maybe because we didn't see this, we didn't feel this, we didn't connect to this as children. And so, and again, and like for me, so many of the things that I was supposed to know as an adult and I didn't would bring me shame. I would be embarrassed. I felt embarrassed. And then I was like, wait a minute. Just like Carrie said, it's understandable that you would feel this way. Once I was like, it makes sense that you don't know how to do this. So then, right, the self-compassion piece applied again. I was like, hey, it's okay. Instead of shaming myself or judging myself, what was wrong with me for not knowing how to do this? Or what was wrong with me for not having gotten this? It wasn't my fault. But I can learn now. I can learn to tend to this body now. The same way we're hardwired to survive, we're also hardwired for connection, compassion, and kindness. And that is also having that for ourselves, like showing ourselves kindness, compassion, and care. There you go, Carrie. I used to have a self-soothing kit in the closet. I called it my nest, a place to go when I was upset. I should do that again. There you go, Carrie. Absolutely. Absolutely. If this isn't a time to do that, I don't know when. So, absolutely. I also love soft blankets and scarves. So sometimes it's soothing for me and comforting to have scarves. And if it's too warm, I like soft blankets. So let's see. And there's two more, and then we're almost out of time. Manage stress. Manage stress. Right? A little bit of stress is okay, right? To get us going, to move out the door, show up for things that we're supposed to show up for. The little bit of stress in your nervous system kind of gets you going. Too much stress, we all know all about that, right? It pushes into hopelessness, fatigue, and burnout. So, and that's, I was just showing someone else today on our polyvagal theory, when we tip into overwhelm, we're in the stress, fight or flight. And when we get tipped into overwhelm, we've passed the line of where okay, I can still manage, I can do this. And we have like physically tipped into, the nervous system has gone numb. I'm stuck. I can't move. And so how to get out of that? Sometimes we need someone to co-regulate with. We call a friend that can help us come back into maybe the need to feel the feelings behind that tipped us into overwhelm or the stress. Talk about what was so stressful. And again, we have a lot of things that are very real and up right now. But do what we can to keep ourselves within the stress range that we can self-regulate and manage. So, and the last piece, tend to our bodies, right? We're come full circle. We were talking about taking care of ourselves, taking care of our bodies. Tend to our physical needs, water, movement, food, rest. Repeat. And every day is a new day, right? Every day, like we need sleep every night, right? We need food every day. We need water every day. We need movement every day. So I like this list, and this article is in the Journey to the Heart Facebook group that I shared there a few days ago, but I figured it was related to our topic today, and I thought it would be a good reminder. And I pulled a card before I sat down for our meeting today. It's always perfect. It's always perfect. One day, he or she woke up and decided to be healthy. You're welcome, Rachel. And looking down that list, right? There's a lot of things we can do. A lot of things we can do. So even if we just choose one little thing at a time, it all makes a difference. All right, my sweet friends, thank you so much for being here today, sharing and caring and supporting and encouraging each other. Much appreciated always. So I hope you feel your heart and soul has got a little, we tended to that, and so there was a little bit of self-soothing going on here. Hope you feel seen and heard. Please be gentle with yourselves, my friends. Rest, yes, please, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe and stay well. And I look forward to seeing you guys back here on Tuesday. Same time, same place. All right, friends. Until then, take good care. Bye now.